it's Kim. So this kind of goes along with this whole immigration thing. You've got people out here saying that basically America was stolen land. I'm still digging into it, but let's look at it this way. If it was stolen from anybody, it would have been from the indigenous people that were here, and that would have been actually Europeans that would have done it. I mean, if we're gonna be real, um, but there's also stuff like the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. And then there was also, let me look at my phone really quick. I should have had this up there. But there was another one. Oh, the Louisiana Purchase. I mean, portions of the states came about later, I mean, whatever. So it's kind of like for them to say that, it's kind of like, okay, but you're trying to conflate a couple of different things here. Just let's just hold on and actually look into it. And I mean, I don't remember learning a lot of this stuff in school. I mean, I knew about the Louisiana Purchase, but it doesn't even like really cover much. It just kind of goes up the center almost kind of at an angle, towards whatever state that is, maybe Montana or something like that. I don't even know if it touches it, but whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying. I mean, we can actually pull that up. Let me pull it up here. Let's see. Yeah, Louisiana Purchase. And I believe they purchased it. I kind of was doing a little bit of digging into it this morning. I mean, they pretty much bought it from, I guess, Napoleon, because he was like, I don't have time for this. He had too many wars going on, I guess. I think that's what it said. So, yeah, see, it kind of goes all the way up to here. And then I think that says Indian Territory. So, like Idaho and what is that, Washington State. So, anyway, but we're going to look at these few little posts on X because, I mean, I just want to hear what these people are saying. It says, as a Native American, how dare they chant they are taking back stolen land? If it was stolen from anyone, it was the Indians. Don't see them starting wars, chanting anywhere. They are taking back lands taken from them. They are invading, not migrating. These words prove that fact. So let's see what this guy has to say.
This is really protesting what's going on here in the United States if they don't want to go back to their country. Because they think that it's like a stolen land, so they think they could just come in here, and take over. He is speaking for them. Taunting National Guard right here, saying National Guard. This is really protesting what's going on here in the United States.
I mean, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Protesters chant, no one's illegal on stolen land, while a few of them are still holding the American flags that were handed out earlier to improve PR. I think the organizer must be confused. Oh, American flags? Well, that's dumb. Just so that we'll keep them here. How is something stolen though if you paid for a portion of it and then you signed treaties for the other portion of it? I think there was money exchanged hands. We're gonna look at some of this in just a minute, but I'm like, okay, guys, let's get a little education. It says every Mexican I'm seeing at these protests is echoing the "you stole our land, it's our land" line. They're making their intentions clear. They are invading and occupying force. Treat them like it. And then it says, my ancestors were stolen from Africa to come here. Then you stole the land from the indigenous, stolen people on stolen land. Never forget that. Do not stop coming out at LA protests. Let's see here.
England will fall. Japan will fall. If America does not stand up right now and say, hey, we don't want this. We will fight and fight and fight and get their back, and we'll still come out here today because democracy matters. Matters. Justice matters. That's what this country is for. My towers were stolen from Africa to come here.
And I think it's been evidenced that they were stolen by their own people and sold off to, like, say, the Spanish or the French or English or British or whatever you want to call them. I mean, yeah. That let's just, I mean, nobody's immune from, you know, not being held responsible for this kind of stuff, the slavery and everything else. Yeah, every civilization has had somebody that's at the lower rung that's been taken advantage of. So right now in our country, I think you're going to consider that the illegal immigrants because they can pay them the less and treat them like trash and say, oh, they'll only take the jobs that Americans won't do. But if they paid a living wage, Americans probably would do those jobs. I mean, you come here illegally, you have to go back home. You can't just continue to stay here. But anyway, let me just finish one more and then we'll look at the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo and we'll even look at the Louisiana Purchase because I'm curious about this stuff, why they keep saying it's stolen land. I'm sure this is some kind of Marxist talking point just to kind of like, oh, like almost a globalist type thing or something where, nobody's illegal, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's the same, the equity or whatever. I mean, I'm not an expert on all this stuff, guys. I'm just digging into it because I want to know. I'm curious about it. But anyway, this is from February 2nd, but I'm sure there was protests going on. That time it says they believe America is illegitimate. These are some of the signs. This isn't a fight over levels of immigration. This is a fight over America's right to exist as a sovereign nation. No wall, no borders. No human is illegal on stolen land. So I guess this was one of their protests. Okay, no one is illegal on stolen land. Protests against deportations. And this is somewhere in Los Angeles. That was in February. And then from Palestine to Mexico, border walls have to go. Okay. No wall, no ban, no human is illegal. Okay. No human is illegal on stolen land. Well, let's look into it because if money changed hands and somebody signed off on it, let's look at one more. Let's look at this guy.
I love this flag right here. You just said you love that flag right there. What's your favorite thing about the Mexican flag? Colors. What's the purpose of bringing out the Mexican flags today here while we are in the United States? Honestly, I have no idea, bro. I just came here to just show out. That's it, bro. You think it's low key like, all right, if you want to rep your flag, go back to your country kind of vibe, or do you think people are just upset? I don't know. Honestly, like it's true, like we did come, but like I don't know, bro. They're here already. They don't want to leave. Why are they protesting what's going on here in the United States if they don't want to go back to their country? Because they think that it's like a stolen land, so they think they could just come in here, and take over. I love this flag right here.
Take over, yeah. So, oh yeah. This is the one. This was what? Okay, it says, watch big and angry protester in LA screams and says the U.S. belongs to Mexico. This is our city, and this was Mexico, which may be true, but at the same time, we're going to look at that Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. I mean, somebody signed off on it. So, too bad. So sad. This is America, Jack.
This is our city, and this was Mexico. You can't get this out of the land that was ours. Donald Trump! What's the wind blower for? To blow it back at the blower, bring it up! 1992 again with the tanks! I was from then! I'm 44 now! I will die for my kids! And all of these young people out here are my kids! Because I'm an LA native mom! Even my children are fighting! You! Make your bed! If you can hear me, expect in your office on Monday for attacking my children! You can say something to Donald Trump right now. What would you say? Donald Trump! You can suck my left man. You can get out of my drawer. You're just Mac and Salma Hayek when they give you the time of day. And because sun is shine, will make you look like a loser.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, so let's look and see what this says. This is from the National Archives, so I mean, I don't have any reason to believe that it's inaccurate. Who knows? They say that the victors write history, so take it for what it is. But let's see what it says. Okay, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo in 1848. This treaty, signed on February 2nd, 1848, ended the war between the United States and Mexico. By its terms, Mexico ceded 55% of its territory, including the present day states of California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, most of Arizona and Colorado, and parts of Oklahoma, Kansas, and Wyoming. Mexico also relinquished all claims to Texas and recognized the Rio Grande as the southern boundary with the United States. And I'm a Texas native, baby. Anyway, an American citizen. Just throwing that in there. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which brought an official end to the Mexican American War in 1846 to 48, was signed on February 2nd, 1848 at Guadalupe Hidalgo, a city to which the Mexican government had fled with the advance of U.S. forces. With the defeat of its army and the fall of the capital, Mexico City, in September 1847, the Mexican government surrendered to the United States and entered into negotiations to end the war. The peace talks were negotiated by Nicholas Trist, chief clerk of the State Department, who had accompanied General Winfield Scott as a diplomat and President Polk's representative. Trist and General Scott, after two previous unsuccessful attempts to negotiate a treaty with President Santa Anna, determined that the only way to deal with Mexico was as a conquered enemy. Nicholas Trist negotiated with the Special Commission representing the collapsed government led by Don Bernardo Couto, Don Miguel Atristain, and Don Luis Gonzaga Cuevas. President Polk had recalled Trist in October 1847 under the belief that negotiations would be carried out with the Mexican delegation in Washington. In the 6 weeks it took to deliver Polk's message, Trist received word that the Mexican government had named its special commission to negotiate. Trist determined that Washington did not understand the situation in Mexico and negotiated the peace treaty in defiance of the president. In a November 4th, 1847 letter to his wife, Trist wrote, knowing it to be the very last chance and impressed with the dreadful consequences to our country, which cannot fail to attend to the loss of that chance, I decided today at noon to attempt to make a treaty. The decision is altogether my own. Trist sent a copy to Washington, and President Polk forwarded the treaty to the Senate for their advice and consent. When the Senate reluctantly ratified the treaty by a vote of 34 to 14 on March 10th, 1848, it removed Article 5, guaranteeing the protection of Mexican land grants. Following the ratification of the United States withdrew its troops from the Mexican capital. With the annexation of more than 525,000 square miles of land, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo extended the borders of the United States west to the Pacific Ocean. This agreement, along with the 1853 Gadsden Purchase, created the southern border of the present-day United States. The U.S. government paid Mexico $15 million in consideration of the extension acquired by the boundaries of the United States and agreed to pay American citizens' debts owed to them by the Mexican government. Other provisions included the protection of property and civil rights of Mexican nationals living within the new boundaries of the United States, the promise of the United States to police its boundaries, and compulsory arbitration of future disputes between the two countries. Let's see. This is a transcript. So it's a treaty of peace, friendship, limits, and settlement between the United States of America and the United Mexican State concluded at Guadalupe Hidalgo, February 2nd, 1848. Ratification advised by Senate with amendments March 10th, 1848, ratified by President March 16th, 1848. Ratifications exchanged at Querétaro, May 30th of 1848, and proclaimed July 4th, 1848. In the name of Almighty God, the United States of America and the United Mexican States, animated by a sincere desire to put an end to the calamities of the war which unhappily exists between the two republics, and to establish upon a solid basis relations of peace and friendship, which shall confer reciprocal benefits upon the citizens of both, and assure the concord, harmony, and mutual confidence wherein the two peoples should live. As good neighbors, have for that purpose appointed their respective plenipotentiaries, plenipotentiaries. I've never seen that word. That is to say, the President of the United States has appointed Nicholas P. Trist, a citizen of the United States, and the President of the Mexican Republic has appointed Don Luis Gonzaga Cuevas, Don Bernardo Couto, and Don Miguel Aristain, citizens of the said republic, who, after a reciprocal communication of their respective full powers, have, under the protection of Almighty God, the author of peace, arranged, agreed upon, and signed the following: a treaty of peace, friendship, limits, and settlement between the United States of America and the Mexican Republic. Let me read maybe to 5 on this. Maybe I'll do the first 3, and then we'll do a separate video or 2. Okay, so it says, there shall be a firm and universal peace between the United States of America and the Mexican Republic, and between their respective countries, territories, cities, towns, and people, without exception of places or persons. Immediately upon the signature of this treaty, a convention shall be entered into between a commissioner or commissioners appointed by the General-in-Chief for the forces of the United States, and such as may be appointed by the Mexican government, to the end that a provisional suspension of hostilities shall take place, and that in the places occupied by the said forces, constitutional order may be reestablished. As regards the political, administrative, and judicial branches, so far as this shall be permitted by the circumstances of military occupation. Immediately upon the ratification of the present treaty by the government of the United States, orders shall be transmitted to the commanders of their land and naval forces, requiring the latter, provided this treaty shall then have been ratified by the government of the Mexican Republic, and the ratifications exchanged, immediately to desist from blockading any Mexican ports, and requiring the former, under the same condition, to commence, at the earliest moment practicable, withdrawing all troops of the United States then in the territory, in the interior of the Mexican Republic, to points that shall be selected by common agreement at a distance from the seaports not exceeding 30 leagues, and such evacuation of the interior of the Republic shall be completed with the least possible delay, the Mexican government hereby binding itself to afford every facility in its power for rendering the same convenient to the troops on their march and in their positions, and for promoting a good understanding between them and the inhabitants. In like manner, orders shall be dispatched to the persons in charge of the custom houses at all ports occupied by the forces of the United States, requiring them, under the same condition, immediately to deliver possession of the same to the persons authorized by the Mexican government to receive it, together with all bonds and evidence of debt for duties on importations and exportations not yet fallen due. Moreover, a faithful and exact account shall be made out, showing the entire amount of all duties on imports and on exports collected at such custom houses or elsewhere in Mexico by authority of the United States from and after the day of the ratification of this treaty by the government of the Mexican Republic, and also an account of the cost of collection and such entire amount deducting only the cost of collection, shall be delivered to the Mexican government in the city of Mexico within 3 months after the exchange of ratifications. The evacuation of the capital of the Mexican Republic by the troops in the United States, in virtue of the above stipulation, shall be completed in 1 month after the orders there stipulated for shall have been received by the commander of said troops or sooner if possible. That doesn't sound like stolen to me. It sounds like they made agreements and people signed off on it. So if there was no money exchange in this one, at least with the what is that with the Louisiana Purchase, I think they paid $15 million for that section of the United States. So anyway, I mean, for them to say it's stolen land and nobody's illegal, it's like, wait a minute, we have borders and stuff like that for a reason. We made agreements with them, but I'll do more videos on this because I'm just kind of curious about it. I mean, I'm learning while I'm sharing because I'm not teaching. I'm just showing you the stuff that I'm pulling up. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great afternoon. I'll see y'all around. Bye.